Okay then, so let's do at this point a jump into another one-day tournament that you streamed 2 weeks ago, and it's gonna be the strongest one won by Shelty. As this is gonna be a second round of the winners bracket between Momo and Shadowfax. Again, we of course haven't right now anybody streaming that, so therefore that's also why I chose it. Not sure if maybe Momo wasn't doing POV, but yeah, well, I just kinda remember that Shadowfax was asking if he could stream, but in the end we were already engaged back then. So let's do it at least now here. So you do have some time before maybe you get something live finally in the lobby as well. After the first game we had today, as Odin's Wand is gonna be one of the first relics, which is somewhat nice. Not like completely game changing, but not entirely terrible either. Pretty good gold mine here for Shadowfax with Isis. As you can see, it's gonna be also having good hippos and food, but that's kinda Marsh. Marsh really doesn't have that much of a high amount of bad spawns. No, and Momo, on the other hand, he's gonna be of course playing with his favorite Hades. Goldmine seems to be also quite a bit fine, and considering that you do have Isis against him, it's not really gonna be any kind of rush too much to protect that Goldmine, so it's gonna be a second TC build for him, obviously. For the Isis, probably 2 TC fasty heroic. It's kinda like the most common. Not sure if it would be maybe some risk on 1 TC. Wouldn't be necessarily expecting so, but very curiously open map. Not too many pawns here. Usually gonna be having a bit more of them on Marsh, but here and there you're gonna be getting those odd spawns. And apparently you can see cranes on the same spot on the minimap. On the map rather. So it doesn't seem to be too common. Usually they're gonna be on the other side of the map. Empire Earth. No, well, that's a game I actually used to be playing. Oh, played a bit. Even some multiplayer actually with some friends when it came out back then. But the problem of the game is that it's just like over ambitious and complicated with like, I don't know how many, 12 ages or maybe even more or something like that. Just like a bit too much at that point. And the extremities of having tanks versus clubmen or whatever, or archers rather, is a bit kind of on the strange side, but nonetheless, never kind of got too much into it. You just playing Age of Empires 2 and Age of Mythology back then. And Grassing Room, I don't think it was ever finished. I don't think it was ever finished, those 2 remaining matches. So we are supposed to be there for having... Oh, that's right, about now a bit of a spoiler, so I'm not gonna be heading into it now, because I want to be uploading to YouTube as well, and in somewhat of an order. At this point I'm thinking it's gonna be abandoned, unfortunately. It's way too kind of far. There was nothing going on. I think that Shelty was online on Monday, but I don't know. Right now with the new tournaments coming up like probably every week. It's a bit of a shame though, because it will be some nice matches, the last 2 ones. But maybe they're just gonna be played somewhere, I don't know, randomly. No idea whatsoever. Maybe it's gonna be randomly meeting somewhere, doing some other tournament. Could easily be. But well, as you can see right now, that's gonna be there for Isis, getting a temple. We are gonna be at about 3 minutes in, so... Doesn't seem like too much of a slowest advance. Still fully gonna be expecting 2 TC fasty heroic from him. Shouldn't be any kind of early nonsenses, so going into the middle of the map for all the hunt is gonna be quite a bit fine, even here for Shadowfax, and to even stay here. Just gonna be kind of curious about who's gonna be taking which TC, right? Because, for example, the position here could be even allowing to maybe try and steal that one from Momo. Otherwise, back TC for Momo also doesn't do too much. And on the other hand, though, he needs to be a bit more careful because this is Nora, and therefore Ancestors and Eclipse pushed by Isis, if he advance on 1 TC, could be pretty dangerous, so... Yeah, I'm thinking that the back one is gonna be a better option for Momo, even though it doesn't give him any gold. But he doesn't have a terrible gold mine anyway. You can see here to the top side, it's a fairly nice spot anyway. Oh, that's actually fairly cool. You can see good forest, so you can be producing some walls around it fairly well. It's not bad, even though he doesn't have a TC here. Just this one forward, I think this is not gonna be too complicated. Second TC on the other hand for Shadowfax, it's gonna be of course a lot more important for the Egi. That also seems to be fairly similar spot and fairly nice as well. Even better maybe, because the TC at this point slightly closer. And I'm thinking that overall this position is a lot more defensible. You can see that's like completely to the side of the map, easy wall here. This is a very good spot, nice. Liking that even more than to the top side for Momo. Now, as Mr. Ajax is already wanting to stick his spike into a few of the villages here. Maybe even Mr. Pharaoh is in death. Ajax is gonna be carrying right now extra population slots, which is nice. to basically nullify the East's advantage that she has with the 3 slots per the TC. Won't be really able to do anything too much here. So right now, no, the Minotaur... Of course, the Pharaoh is gonna be having massive attack, but now only. It's kind of like a bit of a problem, because of course the Pharaoh is having lessened attack in the early stages, and therefore that's resulting into, you can see right now the priest does basically anything, well, almost nothing, even though he's having the huge 800% advantage and bonus. The base attack of only 3 still means he's doing like 30 damage, and then cut it into half, because Minotaur is having like 60% pierce resistance. It's almost nothing, whereas Pharaoh, while he's gonna be having lower bonus at 400%, he's having 15 base attack in the classical. In the first age he's having like, I don't know, some 3 or whatever, possibly. So he's doing quite a lot more, and, well, it's a lot more dangerous. But this was quite a bit close, because of course losing the Pharaoh this early and waiting then 90 seconds for the respawn could be probably quite a bit complicated if he's choosing to go for 1 TC, because he wants to be going for prosperity. He wants to be going for 1 TC here, Shadowfax. Prosperity without empowerment, losing 20% gold just like that. That's not what you want to be doing at all. So that was possibly a bit risky. And why you want to be attacking with the Greek heroes, and on the other hand, you don't want to be kind of like taking the fight too much, because something can be going wrong, you could be making some mistake, and suddenly you're gonna be completely screwed on your build. And losing like 20% on the gold here during prosperity, that usually means, no, a few hundred. How much you getting during prosperity? I mean, like on the food, on the rain, you're getting like, what, 600-700 food? Gold is gonna be probably somewhat similar, right? So you're just gonna be losing some 150 gold maybe because of that. Very rough estimate, I haven't counted it at this point recently, so I don't have it in my mind, but yeah, not something that you want to do too much. But well, at any rate, Sphinx is gonna be having to head home, as next relic will be, oh, that's still the first one. Next one is gonna be, ahaha, Dwarven Calipers. Now that is a proper Eggy upgrade. 20% discount on siege towers is appropriately broken. That's something he absolutely does want. And was the second relic coming home? Better actually Hippospists. No, well, probably not the most important right now in this matchup, even though depends now, because it could be seen some spearmen possibly. Somewhere later against the Hippicons, they are coming against the Eggy, but it's most probably gonna be somewhat like a Migdol, and therefore more maybe camels than anything else. I was looking at the economy, for example, for Momo. Hendax and Pickaxe. On Shadowfax's side, we are going to be looking at currently nothing so far, but Pickaxe should be somewhere coming up, I'm hoping. Wait. He's getting prosperity without Pickaxe? Oh, there it is. Not too optimal, or like 100% optimal, but nonetheless still good enough, in my opinion. And we can see the gold maybe right now, so it's gonna be gathering 100, or rather, could have been looking at it from a bit of a different actually point of view. And we're gonna be able to maybe do it anyway, into like the total gold. From about here. Yeah, we're gonna be able to do it through that. It's not fully reliable, the graph, but approximately we could be having some kind of clue actually how much of a gold it's going to be at this point. Can't say it now. 12 villages. Fairly good position of the mining camp as well, so a little inefficiency in there. Nice to see, as you can see, hippies already well in place. Whereas for Momo, we are going to be, of course, still in the classical 1-1 so far, and heading into a new stable. As you can see, he's trying to go for a bit of an extreme wall in, but that's because he's trying to set up for the trade because of the bottom TC. So he's already thinking ahead instead of going for just protection of the gold and maybe fixing that later. He wants to be fixing it immediately. No, and now, no, probably the 2 TC play is gonna be correct, because you can be, of course, against 2 TC in place, you will be, of course, getting even a third one as a Greek, especially against somebody like Ra. But here, the second is gonna be more than enough, and he needs to be really careful not to kind of like invest into the economy too much, then he'll be too low on the economy and too vulnerable to potential ancestors with some kind of push. So he doesn't want to be really risking losing too much of map control because of that. No, and on the left side, that is a bit of an interesting move, actually, in general. Most probably for the hunt currently. The gold is gonna be kind of far away from him. It's an interesting position of the Migdol. It doesn't really do too much to him, so that's why I'm a bit questioning that. Could have been a lot easier to get the Migdol, for example, here, blocking that. having some measure of control on the TC. Whereas on the left side, he just has to be seen more the hunt than the gold. Guess that's gonna be way more important for him currently. But well, nice to be seen also the extra Scorpion Men, as obviously Scorpion Men are some of the excellent, or most excellent units against the Hippicons. They really are exactly superbly fit in into the whole territory in there, because obviously quite nice melee resistance, very high attack, having the poison on top of it, which is also dealing some extra true damage. Right, but now with the poison. The true damage, I think that's a damage that basically ignores armor, if I'm remembering correctly. Right now, not 100%, but I'm thinking that's what it means. Basically, just like straight get it. Doesn't matter if you're gonna be having armor or not, so it's not like any kind of special like melee or pierce or anything. Something like magic damage in Diablo 2, which is also, or used to be, a bit of an enigma on the original game. On Resurrected, it's slightly fixed. Doesn't really have that many issues as the original game had in those kind of secrecies and whatever. But that's actually gonna be quite nice raiding with further villies. No, I'm not liking that. That's a reaction to kill the villages, but Ancestors are no locust. If that was a locust, that would have been really great. But Ansees for that, I mean, like, nice to be killing 3 villages, I guess. But he can probably afford it right now, Momo. No problem. New lumber camp would be nice, or storehouse. Already getting quite a bit deeper in there for the inefficiency. No, and against right now, unfortunately, he's gonna be throwing away all the army, and now he has Ancestors to the right, and he's not gonna be able to help himself here at all, and he basically doesn't have any kind of army at all, as he's gonna be relying on that one Migdol, which is producing currently what exactly? No, just a whole combination of camels and chariots there. Interesting, he's having 2 clicked in. I wonder if this is like... Yeah, he's actually having it on without autocue. Yeah. He's having autocue only on the siege works, as he wants to be better controlling the units. And frankly, Shadowfax, as a vanilla expert and therefore used to be playing without autocue, that is somewhat to be expected. He's gonna be having the proper 8 or the APM for that. As currently we don't seem to be having any kind of upgrades on either side, military-wise. So, while theoretically this actually is not as bad a fight for right now Momo to be retreating, could have been still winning that. There wasn't too much of a purpose in my opinion anyway. He wouldn't be able to get through the Migdol or do anything to it still. So that fight just simply didn't serve too much of a purpose. But if that's the case, then just peel off like 3 Hippicons and go for a bit of raiding. You need to be checking out the bottom TC, for example. If Shadowfax is not going there, if he's not gonna be starting trade from there, because logically this TC is much better here for the trade-in, so theoretically market here is making very good sense. By the way, very good wall-in by Momo already. The full map is gonna be right now basically his. And economically, we are gonna be where? Hand axe and pickaxe. And, sorry, stupid double-clicking. Can you leave and let it go, please, mouse? Thank you. Sorry for that. Talking about half year about fixing that, but as always that next stream that I want to be doing, and I don't want to be breaking my mouse before that. So yeah, I'm just gonna be having to brave it though, one of those days, because it's getting way worse at this point. No, but nonetheless, let's go back to the actual engagement, where we are right now seeing that Shadowfax is at only 88 pop limit. He's absolutely not able currently to keep up. And you can see he's already right about now given up, and autocue is gonna be full swing. So charioteers every 6 seconds are gonna be coming forward. No, but it's already with medium Hippicons upgraded for Momo. And also medium archers it looks like. Medium Toxotai with copper shields right now upgraded. That's also quite a nice extra upgrade here. Especially fighting next to Migdol stronghold now, and the restoration was cast incredibly late in my opinion. Looking at the dead Hippicons already on the ground here, and you can see that actually it wasn't even enough to be out healing even the DPS that was coming up from the Migdol and from everything else. So well, just like don't underestimate it, and even just kind of like more of a reason again. It's gonna be quite a bit of a wild comparison, but nonetheless, just kinda going back through water again. Just like, I really wonder when people are gonna be listening to me finally, and understanding that actually fighting through restoration is often a good idea on water, instead of trying to run away and still getting tons of damage. But well, we'll see. Maybe people will learn here and there. As they have learned other things from our streams. Definitely there are a few things that they have changed according to what we have been kind of talking about, but nonetheless you can see there's the TC. No, and without any kind of course, scouting by Momo. Thinking that's a bit of a shame, he could have been possibly preventing that. But in the end, he's having quite a good success on the left side anyway, as Shadowfax is gonna be at 51 pop limit. Practically no army for him, and that's gonna be, oh, even Aphrodite extra. Gonna be blocking the gold, and while there's still one to the bottom, no, with the absolute lack of military. Kinda depends, because at this point, there's kinda a nice army coming forward, but still, I don't think he's having necessarily enough to get rid of the big roll. And Fortress is not coming forward. Look at the shades though. How many he's right about now finally having and sending forward. Because he wasn't using them before at all. So I guess he was just ignoring them somewhat. Yeah, there is a ladder on Wobbly. You can find that. Otherwise the one on Steam is like very limited, like to top 100 or top 200 or whatever. And it's mostly somewhat useless as well, because it's also having some bugs in there as far as I know. Not sure if it has been fixed, but you can find on Wobbly. A ladder 1v1 team game. Maybe can be right now giving you the link if I can find it quickly. As our game has already finished. Yeah, for example, that's gonna be 1v1. No, and yeah, I'm thinking this is all starting from the fact and from the position where Shadowfax just threw away those ancestors. I'm thinking he was just kind of like way too wanting to kill the Wills and didn't realize, maybe just not enough experience. Not enough experience is not right with Shadowfax. I mean, like, he's basically random coder in vanilla, so he does know how to play Isis and everything, but he maybe just kind of like outplayed and overestimated his hand here, and immediately he was missing it on the left side in the counter attack. If he was having it here to block off Momo, the game would be just completely different from that point forward. So I'm really thinking it could be all tracked down and tracked back to that mistake, unfortunately. Really thinking that it can be. Okay, so that's gonna be there for the game finished. And Momo is the advancee over Shadowfax in the winner's bracket. Advancing into the match. Who he was actually advancing against at that point? That was an advance against Grass and Groom, and that's the match that we have done live, if I'm not mistaken. For the tournament, it's already finished, so if you... No, I mean, like, there's no... Doesn't matter the spoiling, I guess. This is right now for this tournament. It was played 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, let's say. Not finished. Those two last matches. No, and let's therefore have a look at some post-game. Okay, so what do we have here? We also then want to be looking at the amount of gold approximately during the prosperity. But I can say right now the resources are going to be obviously for the Greek quite a bit higher. Second TC and stronger echo in the early game. 1700 and 623 and 16. So that's going to be 39. 3900 resources more for Momo than for Shadowfax. Quite a bit nice. Unit skill similar, military count of course not. That's obviously what's gonna be then leading to the resign. Those Scorpion men were pretty cool. But again, those ancestors unfortunately I'm thinking were quite a bit wasted. So the gold total, so prosperity, where did he start? There. It's lasted a minute, so about like 813. So here he's having 1200, some 1300, 1200 gold, and 813 about here. At 813 he's going to be having 2121. So it was like, what? It's quite a bit. I can say it about now. It's 800. It's 800 approximately, 750. Right? Or 850? Wait a second. Yeah, 850. So 850 gold, approximately, some 800 gold, let's say, you are getting during prosperity. So if you would be missing the Pharaoh, you will be missing, he's adding basically like 20% extra, so that's like 120% is this. Oh, Jesus, this is like way too complicated for my head, so I'm just gonna be using calculator. So 800, he would be missing basically about like, no, the 150. I was having it approximately correct. Approximately 150 gold he would be missing if the Pharaoh wasn't there empowering. So that's why we need to be careful in the early stage, not to be losing him needlessly somewhere. Because if you're not Ra, you can't be replacing even with the priest. That was 5%, that's somewhat okay, but nonetheless, yeah, better be careful about that. Okay, GG.